All right, guys, today I'm going to be demonstrating how to properly clean your toilet bowl and most likely how to properly use a pumice stone. So first off, you're gonna have to have your toilet brush, your Comet, and of course, make sure you have a nice clean microfiber rag and your disinfectant. First off, one fold, two folds. Now first things first, if anything, give a spray on the toilet seats, give a thorough wipe. Most likely if there's some dust buildup, you'll most likely see all of that start to dissipate once you spray a good disinfectant and then use your rag. If anything, that one side is done, use your second fold. Make sure you're wiping off the toilet seats very well. Edges, of course, behind the edges. Go ahead and lift up. Same process. Spray the underside of the toilet seat and, of course, around the inners and outers. Always check to see if there's anything lingering or any scraps under the specific part of the toilet bowl seat. At that point, go ahead and just thoroughly wipe through. See all that dust and buildup just start to dissipate. And then now, if anything, what I like to make sure we do is give it a good little flush. Most likely under here still needs to be wiped down, but if anything, we'll let that soak and basically everything drain down. Once that's properly flushed, go ahead and give a little spread of your Comet. Let that soak for a couple seconds. And then if anything, just do a circular motion, counterclockwise, clockwise, however fits your guys' preferences. There's really probably no wrong or right way to clean this however way you want. Make sure you're getting all the gunks off. If anything, make sure you're getting under the seats as well, toilet bowl, using the edge of your toilet brush cleaner. Make sure you're getting all of that. Of course, inside of the drain as well. And then now, just give it one more flush. Give it another fold on your rag to on your cleaner side. And if anything, just give it another thorough wipe. Make sure all of it is all clear. You see that porcelain white shining. And now most likely, how to properly use a pumice stone. Only if you see a ring forming, most likely the ring will eventually form. So of course, first things first, you want to dip it in. Make sure your pumice stone is nice and soaked. You don't want to start using it while it's dry, because at that point you're basically going to end up scratching the porcelain. So if anything, get it nice and soaked. Give it a couple seconds, and then if anything, start with a very slow, soft scrubbing. All around the edges where the ring is forming. Just make sure all things are off. Of course, wherever the drain is coming from, that's most likely going to cause some type of rust or staining as well, as we have right here. So of course, make sure we're getting this. Soft scrubs first. Of course, let it soak. As you can see right now, you see all the porcelain and the dissipation of the pumice stone all soak into the bottom. Give another thorough clean scrub. Of course, if needed to, get the edges. You'd be very surprised how much buildup can be left over. Now, give it one more flush. Let all of those broken shards of the pumice stone to basically seep through. Give it another dip. Let it soak up for a couple more seconds. And now at this point, you need to do a little bit of a harder, more thorough scrubbing to ensure all of those rings start to disappear. Now, as you can tell with this, it's basically edging itself off to where it's basically, at this point, it's basically like a chalk. Basically, you can just go whichever way you want. There's no reason why it should be flat, no reason why it should be curved. It doesn't really matter. Nice thorough scrub. And of course, always make sure to reflush it if needed, just to see if the ring is disappearing or whatnot. And at that point, it's basically, as you can tell, there's not much of a ring anymore. It's probably still a slight little ring on the right side, but at that point, you can just go ahead and just do a more harder scrub if needed. And since the tip of the pumice stone is already pre-soaked already, the harder you want to go, it's not going to damage the porcelain at all. Very sorry if you guys have sensitive ears, but this is basically the sound that you guys are going to be hearing once you guys are using it properly. Another circular motion. Give it another flush. Now, a very good portion of the ring is basically gone. Of course, at this point, be very mindful and aware of how the drainings are coming through. Most likely, it seems like it's draining from the back, so of course, most likely that will cause some type of a discoloration or some type of streaks forming as well. So if anything, make sure you're getting under the seat lining very well. Of course, go against the edges of the wall if needed. Give it one more flush. You're gonna see all of that broken shards of the pumice stone start to dissipate. And now at this point, it's a pretty clean bowl. Now, of course, give it another fold to our fifth side. It's nice and clean. At that point, you can just give a nice, thorough final wipe under the seats. And of course, make sure you're checking around the seat holders. Looking under, make sure there's nothing residual left, no dust buildup, no scraps or whatever. Give it one more flush. Go ahead and shut it. Another clean side, of course. Always make sure you're looking under the bowls, making sure there's no dust buildup as well under there. You'd be very surprised how much dust can build up under the bowl. So if anything, you're probably gonna have to get on take a knee and make sure you're wiping all of the undercarriage of said toilet bowl, including even bolts or whatnot. And that right there is how you properly use a pumice stone on a toilet bowl. And now, most likely, this works on a lot of porcelain material. You can also use on your sinks. Of course, always look at the drains. That's most likely where most of the buildup will most likely accumulate. In this case, this one doesn't look too bad, but as you can tell right here on the upper side, there's still somewhat of a yellow discoloration. So if anything, what I like to do is just give it a nice little spray, disinfectant. Just give it a good rinse off. And of course, be mindful of the edges as well. Make sure you're scanning everything around the bowl. Make sure there's nothing that's draining that could cause any of those certain streaks. At that point, again, give it a nice little rinse off. Make sure it's nice and soaked and soft. And now, since I use this on the toilet bowl, it's already edging itself off. So at that point, it makes it so much more easier for us to basically go around the edge of the drain when needed. And basically you just scrub yourself around the drain, make sure all of that stuff is gone. Most likely, same thing as a toilet bowl, you see the discoloration start to dissipate and form off. Same thing with the drains. Again, just give it a nice little rinse off. And basically now, as you see, that little yellow streak and yellow drainage on that side is basically gone. Now, of course, like I said, make sure you be very mindful, look around the edges, make sure there's nothing on there. And if there happens to be some streaks as well, go ahead and just give it a nice little scrub, a little soft scrub. Definitely be very careful to not damage any of the countertops, because most likely these countertops are not porcelain, so we don't want to scratch or shave off anything that could look very noticeable or could be damaging to said counter. At that point, basically just rinse it off. And now if anything, both sides of these are dirty, so go ahead and fold it through to the cleaner side. And of course, to not affect any of the motion sensors, try your very best to avoid that. Most likely it's going to happen, so there's only so much that we can do about it. But as long as the motion sensors are going off, everything's draining itself off, wiping itself down itself with the water, that's all you're really going to need. And now that is properly how you use a pumice stone as well on a porcelain sink. Of course, once you see buildup, don't let it build up too much. Always make sure you're attacking it as soon as you can when you see it to prevent any further buildup. But most likely, this is going to work probably about a good 100,000,000% of the time. It's going to get all those certain things off. Of course, there's other solutions that you can use, but if anything, the pumice stone is the most promising. And that's exactly how you use it. All right. Of course, make sure you put all your supplies and whatnot back. And of course, if you have your dirty bags, make sure you put the dirty rags into that dirty bag so you don't have to worry about disinfecting the rest of these cleaner rags that you have in your scatter bucket. Of course, make sure your scatter bucket is properly clean. There's nothing in there that would cause any distractions of you putting back your supplies. And then now, we can go ahead and move on.